Thanks for joining us for 7 News at 5. Thanks for joining us for 7 News at 6. Thanks for joining us for 7 News at 10. Thank you for joining us for 7 News at 11. I'm Baylee Martin.
Intermediate Unit 1 is taking students' careers from virtual to reality with their new Career Mobile Lab. It's railways and trains like these right here in Steubenville that Senator Sherrod Brown is trying to pass the Railway Safety Act of 2023 to set precedents, procedures in place for railways into the future.
Brooke County officials have confirmed that a 15-year-old girl has died in Follansbee earlier today, and the situation is now under investigation. Of wrongdoing in the State Police Academy continue to pour in. 3 new civil complaints have been filed by Torres Save a Law on behalf of 3 new whistleblowers. We all know the famous sayings like turn around, don't drown, when thunder roars, head indoors, and even see a flash, take a dash. After a pause in construction, subs are set to hit the structure as early as next week.
Yeah, guys, we're at Riverview Park in Marshall County, and what once was a place where people could sit and relax on the grass has now turned to benches being nearly underwater. I just wanted to show you exactly how high up the water is coming.
We've already got dozens of school closings and delays, and the entire state of West Virginia is under a state of emergency. Thanks for joining us for 7 News at 10. I'm Baylee Martin, and I'm joined by Storm Tracker 7 Chief Meteorologist Zach Petty. Zach, what are we looking at for tonight?
We're told that that driver did sustain injuries and is being treated at a local hospital. There were also people inside of the home. We're told 4 people, including a newborn just 7 days old. Now, luckily, they were at the back of the home at the time of the crash, so they were able to exit with no injuries. Now, that truck came down National Road this way and hit into the right side of the porch.
If you're walking past the Guernsey County Courthouse late one night, your eyes may behold an eerie sight. When the sun goes down in the blink of an eye, over 85,000 lights light up the sky. At Grandview Park, there's always a sight to see, except today, we can ditch the viewfinder and put on the glasses for this once-in-a-lifetime event, the 2024 Total Solar Eclipse.
I'm on 7th Street in Moundsville, where this 1,400 block home is said by officials to be unsalvageable after a house fire occurred Sunday morning at 6 a.m.
We have breaking news tonight at 10. Belmont County 911 officials have confirmed that they're fighting a house fire on 68287 Shermont Road in Lansing, Ohio. The ongoing Israel-Hamas war has raised many questions throughout the nation about topics such as human rights, genocide, and organized hate. During the month of April, advocates are spotlighting people who have lost limbs or have limbs that are shaped differently.
I'm on the scene right now of a pretty serious fire here at the Tunnel Ridge prep plant. As you can see behind me, the blaze began around 8 this evening, and the flames have gone down since then, thanks to the West Liberty Fire Department and the tanker task forces from both Ohio and Brooke County.
And all my Swifties out there are going to know this reference, you might not, but it's red against red Taylor's version, because they're both red teams, but one of them's Taylor's version.
The 49ers probably have some like obnoxious name for their red, like, ooh, it's deep scarlet.
I hope some of you at home are laughing because I knew Steve wasn't going to giggle at that. He doesn't get it.
Yeah, guys, students aren't the only ones gearing up for back to school season. So are the teachers. It's really the teachers who are in the classroom with those students, preparing them for their futures. It takes a lot of passion and dedication. That's why the Wheeling Area Chamber of Commerce honors just 3 teachers, one from elementary, middle, and high school each year at their annual Steak Fry and Partners in Education Awards. I have all 3 of those recipients here with me right now. We have Mia Huck from Ritchie Elementary, we have Abby Reeves from Triadelphia Middle, and Betsy Knorr from Wheeling Central. I'm standing on the side of Route 7 between Toronto and Steubenville at the County Road 56 and Custonia exit, where a train has derailed. I'll step aside and give you guys a better look at the scene. Each car is filled with 4 components of trash, which equals 60 components dumped into the Ohio River and on the railway altogether. IU1 and the West Virginia Public Education Collaborative are pedaling into innovation, allowing teachers and students to take education beyond the boundaries of the classroom.
We often see political ads and social media posts of candidates' viewpoints throughout their campaign, but hearing from them firsthand can give a different perspective, where 4 local businesses get the chance to share what they believe will make or break their business with the prize money raised all evening.
The festival is something that everyone in the Ohio Valley looks forward to. It's one of the biggest we have the entire year, and what better person to talk about it than Festival President Michelle Fabro. It's like we coordinated today. We're looking very matchy.
Referendums in Russia have increased turmoil in the 7-month-long war on Ukraine. With Russians fleeing the country and threats of nuclear weapons made by Vladimir Putin, the state of the war is continuing to escalate.
Protests, violence, and fleeing. President Biden recently addressed the United Nations by condemning the 7-month Russian war on Ukraine after their decision to escalate.
Russia has shamelessly violated the core tenets of the United Nations Charter. No more important than the clear prohibition against countries taking the territory of their neighbor by force.
Russian election officials have resorted to knocking door to door, conducting unofficial referendums, ballots in hand and soldiers by their side. West Liberty University political science professor Dr. Brian Fitzpatrick says Russia is upsetting the national order by invading their neighbor and essentially stealing part of Ukraine with this unofficial poll.
They're asking, hey, do you want to be part of Russia or not? The vote will be yes. Hey, the people of these places want to be part of Russia. At least that's what the Russians will be reporting. That won't actually be a legitimate vote. That's what the report. They'll say, all right, this is now part of Russia. This is Russian sovereign territory. And therefore, they'll try and frame it as then a defensive war, not them, invading another country.
He says this in agreement with Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
This is a diabolical strategy, violently uprooting thousands of Ukrainians, bus in Russians to replace them, call a vote, manipulate the results to show near unanimous support for joining the Russian Federation.
Vladimir Putin's announcement of a partial mobilization of 300,000 new soldiers, Russia's first since World War II, has sparked protests, violence, and a major exodus of one-way flights and backed-up traffic leaving Russia, full of passengers who would rather flee their home country than be called up.
Not really many. Lots of Russian people want to fight and want to be mobilized and want to go to the army.
And as for Putin's statement on the possibility of bringing in the use of nuclear weapons,
He really got desperate. He thinks he's going to lose power. There is the possibility he could use nuclear weapons, although that possibility remains very slim, because of course if he used nuclear weapons, there would be retaliation from the international community.
One man chose this war. One man can end it.
it's said that April showers bring May flowers, and boy, has April already hit us. It's actually been, as we know, 10 years since we've seen risk for severe weather like this in the Ohio Valley, and you can probably tell by the water rushing high and fast behind me that we are in a flash flood warning for all counties in the Ohio Valley.
Iconic characters from beloved Pixar classics like Finding Nemo, Toy Story, and so many others have made their way to Pittsburgh for not only great selfie opportunities, but also for gaining new perspectives. With a mix between science and art, this touring exhibition is taking visitors of all ages to infinity and beyond in the world of animation for the rest of this year.
One catch can determine the outcome of an entire game, whether on the field
or in the studio. It's the officials who work just as hard as athletes to determine those calls.
For 58 years, the best athletes in the NFL have stepped up to the challenge of competing on the biggest stage in the world at the Super Bowl. While all eyes are on the guys in jerseys competing for the coveted Lombardi Trophy, there's a third team out on the field in black and white, a role former NFL official Gene Steratore knows firsthand.
Your level of awareness must be at such a high level that you are going to be able to react to whatever is presented to you, and we're not telling you what it is. We don't know.
Gene tells me that while it's an honor to officiate the most watched championship game in team sports, it's integrity and passion that are officials' driving factors.
The greatest thing that can happen on the Super Bowl with the officials is they participate and make thousands of decisions in this 3-hour window, and guess what the goal is? To not be recognized.
Officiating in the NFL for 15 years, ending his career at Super Bowl 52, and now helping explain these calls each week on CBS Sports, Gene has been where millions of people only dream of, right out on the turf.
That pressure to make those calls and to be 95% accurate, I'm sure that has to be tough, especially with games like the Super Bowl. You've officiated some Super Bowls in your day. You know, maybe tell me a little bit about what that pressure is actually like.
You can't prepare for the moment that you're wearing a white hat in a Super Bowl that only 30 people have ever done in the history of the game. That either creates a severe panic attack and the pressure swallows you, or you embrace the fact that this is why I do this, and that's why you want to do it, right?
Having that unique perspective on the game is what has allowed Gene to be known for some of the toughest calls in NFL history. Difficult decisions that often change the outcome of the game. From famously going against the grain and using an index card to determine a first down.
I have never seen this. I've never seen this.
And quite honestly, back in the old days when referees had that problem, right, where it just was that close, they pulled out their penalty card. When I lifted up, I turned to look, and there was a camera.
Look at Gene.
So the look that has been interpreted as a smirk or you having a good time was, my family knows it was kind of like, oh, I'm in trouble here. There's a camera out here. This may be the bigger issue.
To what seemed to be the is it a catch or is it not a catch call that always followed him down to Super Bowl 52, all while under the watchful eye of the entire world. He walked straight from the field into the studio as the official NFL rules analyst on CBS alongside NFL legends Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, just finishing up his third Super Bowl in this role. Close calls call for his advice, and that on-the-spot thinking mixed with the instant replay in today's game is the future of football.
95% really in my position now, with the sake and the luxury of rewinding it and going slower. That's not a good enough percentage. We need to be 99.9 now, because you get a chance to look at it more than once when I didn't have that luxury on the field or court.
The future of the game will continue to grow, but it's the past 57 years of calls from officials that we still remember, along with our favorite commercials and halftime performances that have created memories to last a lifetime.
This just isn't another game, right? It becomes part of our history. Super Bowls are in the historical narrative of what happened during that year, that decade. So it is history, and you have to embrace the fact that it is.
For 7 News, I'm Baylee Martin, working for you.